segments, like specific segments.
Documenting kind of your day and
exactly.
your,
This is on me
that.
all day, and it took a lot of having to get used to it, like
Yeah.
having somebody like go with me to lunch and film and document the conversation.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize is, I mean, to get like 8 minutes or 10 minutes on a vlog
Yes.
could be 8 to 10 hours worth of recording.
Right.
Because there's a lot of conversations that I just can't put out there.
Yeah.
A lot of conversations we have with clients, their deal, their social. I mean, there's a lot of
You
private,
just
confidential.
compress down, take the snippets and the highlights, and roll from there.
And try to get as much. The highlights. We go back and forth on that because I mean I don't want it to be a highlight reel.
Right.
I want to make sure that there's enough of the nuggets in there to where people are like, wow, that's behind the scenes, like an actual conversation. They're really talking through strategy or
Yes.
whatever. But then, I got to make sure, because one of the biggest things I have and that I'm proud of is I have trust, because you guys are going to always be on video, and you got to trust that I'm going to put stuff out there that will only represent all of us in a positive way.
Sure.
Because we may have
Right.
conversations that you don't want out there.
Sure, yeah.
You got to trust that I'm going to know that.
Yeah.
And so that's something we edit down a lot, right? We got to make sure that we're always protective
Right.
of both brands. So
That makes great sense.
we're live as well? Yeah. Oh man, so we're all live. We got this camera, we got these cameras, so we're ready to roll. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right, on this jam session, Christie and Lance Taylor stopped by. Awesome, man.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
I really
thanks for
appreciate
having us.
Oh my gosh.
I heard a lot of great things about you and your brand, and we watch you online. So
Well, and I appreciate you guys.
about that.
Appreciate you guys following me and liking and commenting. So
Yes.
the likes are awesome, but I love the comments even
Yes.
more. Right, like the engagement. And I know I've already understood this. You're the one out there like doing all the commenting and stuff and the engagement.
Yeah.
It's funny. There was another realtor who was engaging with me online or whatever, and I know Kathy, you're watching, so you're going to know this, but she said she met my wife, and she goes, oh my God, well, she didn't know she was my wife, and she goes, hey, I'm with BobMortgage, and she's like, oh my gosh, I love that guy. I flirt with him all the time online, and my wife's like, no, that's me you're flirting with.
I love that.
Yeah, because she's active in my social profile as well. I
Yeah.
stay active in it, but she is.
Perfect. Now, would you
Yeah.
do that for me? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, you got to do what it takes.
Yeah.
Brandon, what
Love it.
episode? 64. This is the 64th episode
Nice.
of the jam session.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now the point behind the jam session, guys, is I really do want to, and we created this jam session obviously 64 episodes ago, and it was really all about bringing partners in, bringing professionals, real estate agents in that I could help showcase their brand, right? It's about how I can utilize the goodwill that I'm bringing and trying to build within the social media community, and bring more attention to what you guys are doing and all the great things that you guys are doing. Because I know that camera is going to know everything about you, right?
Yeah.
Maybe. We may find one thing they know. But these cameras won't know maybe a lot about you guys. And that's what my intent is with this. I want to go deep, understand you guys, make you guys be able to explain that to the audience out there, so that maybe in 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is, somebody says, Bob, dude, thanks so much for introducing me to Christie and Lance. This was awesome. They helped me sell my house, right? I was in a situation, I had to get out of it, and they did an amazing job. That is all this show is about, okay? So from a 30,000 foot view, just to kind of get started, tell everybody a little bit about you guys.
Okay.
Just 30,000 foot view. We'll go deep.
Yeah.
Give us the big picture.
So I grew up in Arkansas, and grew up in Mountain Home, Arkansas, which is north central. It's a small town with 2 big lakes. So grew up wakeboarding and hanging out. Yeah. And my dad is in real estate. He's been a broker for over 40 years. And
Now you're a third generation real estate agent.
That's it. He bought it from my grandfather.
Wow.
And so back in 1968 is when the real estate brokerage was created. So anyway, I grew up around real estate. It was kind of hard to get away from.
Uh-huh.
I'll be honest, when I was 18, it wasn't the the sexiest business. I didn't really understand.
Dude,
it.
I'm in the non-sexy business.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
But I got licensed anyway when I was 18. So
Okay.
went ahead and got my license. And at that point in time, my kind of shift was, hey, I'm going to go in the investing side. I'm not going to just be an agent, and
Gotcha.
work on and support that side. Of course, I was still maturing in my thoughts and trying to figure out my direction in life. And so bought a couple investment properties. My grandmother actually had some money put back, for every birthday and every Christmas, $100, and it built up to, a decent amount of money that I could go and put a down payment on a house. And
Wow.
so fixed it up the summer when I was 18.
That's great.
I know.
Before I went to college, and anyway, ended up turning that house years later and investing in another company. So it was in my blood from the start. I went into engineering in college, and I had about 3 years into college, actually, I had a complete just mental shift, and ended up, finishing out my degree in finance. And then I, joined Keller Williams back in 2004 in Arkansas. And
So in Arkansas in 2004.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, so you were there when all this was going down, buying your first investment properties,
Yeah.
and that was it. Was it? Heard that correct? At 18?
I was 18, that's right, when I got licensed.
Wow.
And then,
Okay.
and then just
18 when you got licensed.
a couple years
Yeah.
later, I actually joined Keller Williams, was the first brokerage I joined. It had just gotten going in Fayetteville, Arkansas, in the
Sure.
area. So it was only I think it was the first or the second Keller Williams in Arkansas at the time. So just was kind of seeding in that area. So that was kind of how we, I guess I launched my real estate career. I started out as an assistant for a guy who was doing a lot of rural property in the area, and so I was doing mail outs, and I realized that's not my gift. And I was having to, checklist and do, a lot of his paperwork and items like that. It helped me learn the backside of the business.
Sure.
But very quickly, I was looking for another opportunity with him, and so I became a buyer agent at that time. So,
Okay.
But anyway, fast forward.
And then, so kind of get me, so
Yeah.
Arkansas, and then when did you transition to Dallas?
So 2009. is when we moved
2009.
here.
Yep.
Okay.
Christie and I met in 2007, and shortly after we got married, she actually was living in Nashville and came back to Arkansas for a brief period of time to help her dad's business out.
Okay.
So she was interconnected into Costco, and she has a singing background. I'll let her tell you more about that. But
Oh my God, yeah, I got to get into that a little bit.
yeah, she had a really cool story, and anyway, we connected, and very quickly we decided that we both had enough of Arkansas for the time being, and we wanted to try something else out. So it was, we're going to Nashville, we're going to Denver, Dallas, so we had a couple options.
Okay.
And we really didn't have I would say, a tremendous number of reasons to come to Dallas. It was just a neat place for us to kind of start a life together. So
It was still close to Fayetteville, Arkansas. We're only
It's
like
5
5
hours.
hours.
Yeah.
So I was
Sure,
like,
yeah.
okay,
It's not bad.
We
Yeah.
can still,
It's a drive, right?
Yeah.
You can drive to Fayetteville
yeah.
before
Yeah,
you can
it's
get down to
doable.
the valley in McAllen.
no,
yeah.
no problem, absolutely.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
from state to state, it's closer than
yes.
interstate. So,
Yep.
but so we family's still close, and we started driving the area, and the more we drove around and looked at Dallas, the more we really fell in love with McKinney, as where we ended up
Yep.
residing, because it has trees and rolling hills, and it reminded her of Nashville and me of
Yeah.
Arkansas. So
Well, when I got into business in '96, I started working McKinney and Greenville.
yeah,
Those are my two markets that I wanted to.
pretty far apart
Yeah.
segments.
They
but
were, yeah. But McKinney's changed since '96.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
back then, it was like a smaller country town. They were really keeping it. They were trying to really keep it like small.
Yes.
The downtown side was kind of the thriving side and
Yeah.
everything, and they were just starting to kind of look at across the highway and what that was going to be, and oh my gosh, those are two different segments. And
Yeah.
and I saw kind of the city, kind of the internal battle between we want growth and expansion, but we still want what everybody loved about downtown McKinney, what everybody loved about the city and the small town, feel.
That
right?
home feel, yeah.
That home feel. So it's just interesting. I want to get your take on it a little bit, how that's evolved and how it's changed, because they're doing some amazing things out there, and the growth is just
Yeah.
phenomenal. So I want to get your take on that in a second, but I want to get to Nashville because
Yeah.
my brother my brother's in the music industry.
Okay.
So I want to
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I want to dig in a little bit. So tell me about your past, Nashville singing.
Oh my gosh.
What'd you do?
So I've been singing my whole life, but I really, when I was in high school, I knew my dream was to go to Nashville, sing. So I started doing contests and competitions, going back and forth to Nashville my senior year of high school. And then
Okay.
I moved there right after high school, was going to college there, and then also singing, doing showcases and working with a management agency there. And
Okay.
that evolved into being a spokesperson for a karaoke company, which was featured on American Idol at the time.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so I got to travel and do a lot of cool things just across the country and hire talent inside of Costco, warehouses, and Sam's Clubs to showcase this microphone, this karaoke microphone.
Right.
And,
Brandon, I think we got a new gig. You're gonna have a microphone. We're going to maybe bring that back to the next jam session.
It was so much fun, and like Lance said, I went back to Arkansas for a short period of time and to help my dad's company, and with no intentions of
Right.
staying in Arkansas. And I met Lance, so
Okay.
God had other plans.
There you go. And did you transition then into real estate like you're in now, or kind of did that take some time, or what?
Yes, so when we got to Dallas, I worked a couple different jobs. I was with Neiman Marcus, and then worked for an orthodontist in McKinney.
Uh-huh.
And I told Lance, I said, I really love real estate. I love, and obviously his family's in real estate.
Sure.
So we'd all talk
You grew
about
up-
real
right,
estate. I'm like,
exactly.
I want to get into this. And so 2011, our first child, Kennedy, she had just been born, and I got my license and joined Keller Williams and McKinney and was on a team as a buyer's agent at
Yep.
the time, and just kind of went from there.
So 2011, Kennedy born,
Yes.
okay, daughter,
Yes.
right? And then you have another one, is that correct?
Yes.
So 2 daughters,
Yes, Presley, and she'll be 5 next month. I can't believe it.
Kennedy and Presley.
Yes.
We have Olivia and Vivian.
Aww.
So, but they go by Liv and Viv.
Oh,
Yes.
that's so cute.
Yeah,
Oh.
Liv and Viv.
Liv
Now
and
they're
Viv.
14. Liv's 14 and Viv's 12.
Aww.
Yeah. So you're coming up on those ages.
Oh, yes.
They're good. They are really, they're great ages.
Yeah.
They teach me a lot because I grew up with a brother, and so we didn't have all that 12 and 14-year-old
Yeah.
women
Oh, yeah.
drama stuff going on in the house. And that's all I'm surrounded by is women
Yeah.
now. So my dog's even a girl. So
Same here.
Oh, it's my life.
I know.
are you really?
Yeah, our dog's a girl too.
awesome.
So we have 5 brothers between the 2 of us.
I grew
So-
up with 3 brothers.
Oh my gosh.
I'm the only girl. I'm the oldest of 3
Okay.
brothers.
Yeah.
And he has 2 brothers and all boy cousins.
Really?
So it was a giant flip-flop.
Yeah.
So I was letting her lead the way. I'm like, you're the only, girl
You're the only one that knows what's happening
anything.
here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So how are you adjusting? How is it going?
It's good. Our girls are so unique. They're so different. So my oldest is me. So she's
Totally.
she's
Yep.
very much stubborn, and she's analytical, and
Yep.
so we get along well, and then my youngest is her,
Yep.
and so she's got me wrapped around her finger, and she's just daddy everything. So we've got 2 different sides
Yep,
of
yep.
Yeah.
of the girl relationship, which has really been cool.
That's
So,
exactly my life.
That's
my,
wild.
our oldest is me to a T.
yeah.
I mean, personality, the analytical side of it. I don't need a lot of hand-holding. Just give me what I need to do, and I'm going to go do it.
Yeah.
And very
Yeah.
independent.
Yes.
My youngest is absolutely like my wife. Now, my youngest can walk in a room and everybody wants to be around her.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's her.
Yeah.
I mean, my
Yeah.
wife is what we call the connector. I mean, she just everybody wants to be around her to engage and to talk because they just have that. There's an aura. There's something about those people.
That's it.
that
Yes.
it's attractive, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
My oldest daughter walks in a room and they're like, "Whoa, hey!"
Intensity.
The intensity is showing and
Yeah.
it's coming out, and they don't know how to read that person. And
Right.
I'm like, because I've had to learn this, right? You got to really quickly break that down by being vulnerable,
Right.
Yeah.
and let people know that you're open to receiving a lot of things. Because if you can't break it down, then they maybe feel like there's just a wall, and you're too
Yeah.
good, or you're in a different place than what they are, and that's really not.
You got to outreach first in those
Exactly.
cases to
It's
really
not
to
really-
let,
that's not the
let
case.
the guard down. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, just stuff that I've had to kind of work on myself personally, and then
Sure.
trying to help her understand that's maybe the way that people would view her.
That-
So
Yeah, but what a great opportunity she has to see you kind of going through those challenges
Yeah.
and transformations too. Just,
well, yeah, and it's also something that I've had to learn, because while I want them to really listen to me, they're not. But
Sure.
I understand they're hearing what I'm saying.
yeah.
And so ultimately, much like I'm sure I did as a kid, that my parents didn't know anything while I grew up,
Oh, yeah.
or was growing up, that
Right.
I now know how smart they were and everything they were telling me.
Yes.
I'm hoping that, and I do see some adjustments in whether it's personality or particularly sports, right? Because they both play beach volleyball. And if I were to go in there and start talking to them about beach volleyball, they would like, Dad, you never played beach volleyball. You don't know anything about beach volleyball. I'm like, yeah, but I played sports.
Yeah.
I know enough about
Yeah.
sports. And
There's no credibility. They're just cutting
no,
you off.
absolutely
Like,
zero
yeah.
credibility in this. So I've had to go in now and just really talk about it from a mindset standpoint. Like, mentally, how do you prepare? How are you overcoming certain challenges? I mean, I can live in that world and they'll listen
Yeah.
to me there, but the X's and O's of volleyball, out. Right?
Yeah, and I think that's typical of children anyway. They look at your dad, they're like, yeah, it's Dad. Yeah, he
Yeah.
doesn't know anything. So
But the coach will say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God, the best thing ever.
exactly.
I just told you that.
I think the patience you have to have as a parent is when they get 22, 23, then they start going.
They come back.
Yeah, they go, you're right, Dad. Maybe they don't
Yeah.
say that, but through
It's
their actions
exactly
they go,
what
hey,
happened to me.
yeah,
It-
and me too.
Yeah, it's
Same.
like, oh yeah, that's what they were talking. Wow, they were actually pretty smart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They had a couple things right anyway. So.
Yeah.
So my
yeah.
brother has been in the music industry since, I don't know, probably 16, 17, 18 years old, right? But it wasn't in like singing or
Okay.
playing. He's been in like artist management,
Oh,
and
cool.
he started out like just in Texas country, right? Because we grew up in
Okay.
South Texas. So it was always like, booking bands,
Yeah.
doing all that kind of stuff, and worked his way up. And, he's had bands like, in the Texas country scene, like big Texas country musicians and stuff like that. And then he got into like Eli Young and Miranda Lambert and Chris Young, and
Nice.
then all that kind of build up. And then he took on FGL, Florida Georgia Line.
Wow.
Nice.
And
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it was really good stuff. And they moved him to Nashville because he's based out of Austin. And they said, look, especially when he got FGL, they're like, look, you need to be, because you're flying too much, and you need to be out of Nashville, because that's our base and everything
Yeah.
happens there. And so he and his wife moved to Nashville, which worked out great because his wife's from Nashville.
Okay.
And they moved there, and now he works for the management company Big Loud.
Okay.
Big Loud Management, Big Loud Records, all that
Okay.
stuff out of Nashville. So yeah, he's doing that now. He has FGL. He has Morgan Wallen, the song "Up Down Up Down,"
Yeah.
which is
Nice.
it's a great song. And he's just been in that space, and it's
Yeah.
really just a testament to starting out in a career, staying with it, and working through everything and watching
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
him elevate and grow.
That's a
Because
tough
he started
industry.
out. It's a
It
tough
is.
industry.
Yeah.
He started
Yeah, it
out
is.
like traveling,
Yeah.
every day. He was
Yeah.
gone like 98% of the year on the road, like being the road manager,
Yes.
and just kind of going that route to work to where he is today. So proud of you, Troy. You've
That's
done a
incredible.
great job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a cool
Cool,
industry.
though. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it because I can call it. Hey, dude, I need tickets to this.
Yeah, exactly. He's a fun brother, right? Yeah.
I
He
love
is. He
that.
is my claim to fame. It's like, I do all this social stuff. I put myself out there so much. I want to be that brand. I'm like, hey, Troy, I need this. Can I have this?
Exactly.
He's like, look, I can get you pretty much anything except Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
It's
no
like,
kidding.
Nice.
no matter what, I just can't get those tickets.
No.
Gosh,
it's
I mean,
all right,
she
I'll do it.
sells out
She's a
everywhere.
legend. She's
Yep.
doing all right.
Yep.
She
She's
is.
doing
It's-
okay.
Because of how she just gives back to that
Yeah.
community.
Yep.
So
That's right.
what you guys, obviously we figured out how you guys got into it, but what keeps you in it? What's driving you right now to continue doing what you're doing in real estate?
So I had a segment of my life I was involved in LED lighting and technology, and that was kind of the engineering side that I really enjoyed, and energy efficiency. So, but I had a period of time, it was kind of this aha, when I was in that business, is that I need to be around people and serving. It's ingrained in me, and it's just what makes me happy. So a lot of that industry is very cutthroat. It's very price oriented, and so it wasn't as fulfilling on the people side. I got to do a lot of great things, travel to Asia and in different parts of the world. So I got really a great vision of the product world, which I think has really helped me to connect with clients that are in that business and just give me a totally different perspective than how I grew up around the service industry. But it did make me realize that I'm a better fit within the service industry just because of that constant interaction and serving and supporting clients. And so it drove me back into it. And so, once I kind of stepped back into the real estate side, it was just, it was a relief because I knew I was in the right place again. And so,
So you could measure, you're kind of getting to more like measuring your success based on who you can serve, how many people you can serve, or the impact of life versus maybe the margin or the dollar that you return on that? Is that? It's
connectivity. I mean, a smart person said, I don't know where I heard this, but is that, you measure your life by, your relationships and by your connectivity with a higher power in many cases, and then your ability to serve and serving others. And that's how you get true happiness. And so I'm a big believer in those pieces is that's, we're a lot of us anywhere are designed to serve.
Yeah. So. I completely agree with that. And it was eye-opening for me and a big sense of like, it just refreshed my whole outlook on my industry and what I do and why I do it when I changed my why from the dollar to the impact.
Yeah.
Because dollars, there's debits and credits.
Right.
You measure that, and it's a game you'll never be able to win.
Right.
You just can't win it because
Right.
money's going in, money's coming out. I mean, and you're always, if you're just focusing on that, you lose, right? And so it was just that ability to measure success based on serving and the impact of lives that you can have, right?
There's a different scorecard out there.
It
and
is.
sometimes, when you're focused on the wrong scorecard and you're not content or fulfilled in life, then you get a chance to go, kind of explore the other one. And so I think, I'm very much a numbers person, and I know being in the mortgage industry, I'm sure you are too.
Right.
So you kind of have a drive, at least early on in life, I had very much a drive toward focusing on numbers and understanding that world, but you realize that's not where the true gift is. So,
Well, the numbers come.
yeah, right.
The numbers will always be there if you understand numbers. They will always be
That's
there.
right, yeah.
But if you put your focus there, then you feel empty,
Correct.
right? Because you're always getting
Yes.
drained. And so if you go over here to impact, it's always a positive feeling. You wake up every day and like, okay, how many lives can I impact? Who am I
Yeah.
going to be touching today as far as, helping them? And all that is a positive. There's no debits. It's just positive numbers all day long.
Yeah.
And if you commit to that giving nature, you've opened up yourself to receive.
Yeah.
All
It
day.
becomes so exciting that way. Yeah.
Too, there's a lot of there's a lot of rejection in a service-based business too. And seeing behind that wall is that, hey, if we can just show them, we're out to support them and provide that value, it really gives you that long vision instead of just seeing some days the doors are all closed, and that's okay. But
So with this rejection, because I agree with you, and we have a lot of rejection. Most people don't. I mean, a lot of people don't know that there's that much rejection that goes on.
right.
What are some really good characteristics an agent has to have to really stay in this game, to have an impact in enough people's lives? What are some of the best characteristics they have to have?
That's a great question. So I was able to do real estate kind of twice. So I was in Arkansas and licensed, and then licensed in Texas. And in between that time, I had a lot of maturity and growing up, and so my perspective when I was young, I didn't have the belief as much in the value that I could create and support someone through a massive life-changing event of moving homes. So that. Once I started to connect to the emotion of it and realize the impact of that life, that you're stopping one point, whether it's renting or a smaller home potentially, and you're moving your entire family and life and navigating to a larger home, and then there's financial obligations with that. You got to go through all the lending process, which can be very invasive too. It's the empathy and the understanding that when people are rejecting,
that's a big word. I love that. Okay.
When they're rejecting up front, is they're scared too. They they have some walls up and some concerns because I don't know if you're the right person to navigate me through this.
Yes.
And so you have to have a lot more understanding and empathy through that process. and reveal yourself to them and how your process works and what you can do to support them. And it's not, unfortunately in our industry, not everyone's created equal. So if they've had a bad experience in the past, they're going to bring that forward.
Yes.
If they've had an issue with a mortgage lender and someone maybe wasn't, they don't feel like they were justified in the way it ended up, then they're going to bring that to your table.
Yep.
So I think having that understanding really helped.
Guys, that's
Got through
that's
that.
a huge nugget right there. Empathy for me is number one as well. You have to be able to get on the same side of the table with that client and understand exactly what you said, what they're going through, why they're going through it, why they are where they are, so that you can be there with them and be vulnerable with them and show them a way out, show them how to get what they're wanting to get, right? I mean, that's probably the absolute number one characteristic.
Yeah. I agree. And so it took some, emotional maturity for me to figure that out.
Yeah.
And so now when I see those rejections, those no's, a lot of times it's more of it's a no right now, or it's no, I don't know who you are, or no, you haven't shown me any value, or so you start to understand where that's coming from. And then, we look for ways to be able to support them and just walk alongside them, support and meet them where they are.
So that then kind of transitions to maybe a second type of characteristic, because you got to be able to get there, but then you have to deliver like all this information with a pretty high level of enthusiasm, right?
Yes.
Every day you got to be able and willing to show up every single day,
Right.
and be excited, because you're not committed to that short-tail dollar, but you're committed to the long-term impact. So you got to show up every day with excitement, because they're hearing it on the other end of either the call or when you're in a belly-to-belly meeting, right?
That's right. We get, the fortunate part is we get small levels of feedback throughout the day from clients, whether it's good or bad, and those little pieces of positive feedback, they can really be fuel to continue to drive us. And so when you do go through a very difficult transaction and you see that smile on their face when they come out the other side at the closing table, and everything is done, all is well in the world, and you see their family's going to have photographs and memories and everything wonderful, those type of successes you can carry with you. The hardest part of starting in the business is you don't have those successes. You don't see through that other side. So when the trail gets more challenging, you don't have really that piece to lean on. We're fortunate now. We've got a lot of wonderful stories and moments that we've shared with people going through that path that we can refer to. So
Yeah, those moments are big, because you can go back to them, and not only for yourself to keep your energy level high and your enthusiasm high as to really reaffirming why you're doing what you're doing, but then it is to be able to share with other people, because that's the part, the moment is the part where you get on that same side, empathy, to be able to say, look, I get where you're at. Here are other people, if they're willing to share that story, here are other people that were in the same place, and here's how we put all this together to help them. Right? Those moments not only impact your life daily, but can impact the people that you're looking to serve. And whether they use you or not. And I've looked at you guys from a social perspective, from your website and everything. I mean, you guys give a lot. And I know, probably in the same place that I am, look, I'm going to give. And some people might not use me as a lender. Hope that never happens, but some people may not. And that's okay, though.
Yeah.
But if they got something from what I'm giving, then it makes them better. And ultimately, we will win.
Yep.
Right? And one of our favorite, guys that we talk about, when we talk about that,
Yep.
we'll win in the long run.
Yep.
Right? Because we're willing to do that. And the energy, I think, is a really important characteristic, because not only just like the energy physically, but you got to have it emotionally, you got to have it spiritually, you got to have, all these things. This energy has to be right, because of the rejection, because of the grind that you have to go through daily, right? And it's that way in my business. I know it's going to be that way in yours. If you're not excited to be here and you don't bring the energy every day, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all that stuff, then you can't help other people.
It's so true. Yeah. So I think the other thing I've learned too is that there was times in my life I kind of neglected, my personal time and my exercise time and things like that. And I realized I had, half a tank to give from. And so, really trying to start my mornings right, and, getting into the gym and taking care of business in those areas have really helped me extend my energy levels, because that's kind of that is the metric that we all kind of get rated by, is how much energy we're able to give. And so at the end of the day, it feels really good when you give 100% of your energy. And then you go home and you've got your children waiting for you. And so you got to muster up a little more.
You got to give them 100. Everybody wants
Yeah.
100. And so the only way to do that is to take care of yourself. You're up here, take care of your body, to be able to have room to give all that.
And that's, I think that's just, it's hard to kind of balance that. I think balance is also a big challenge that, I faced personally in my life, is just how to balance all those pieces together. And so
I'll tell you, I've gotten rid of the word balance. It's harmony.
Harmony. There
Harmony,
you go.
I like that. I like
You
that.
can, I mean, it's
Harmony.
impossible in our lives to balance everything because we're all in everything all the time. If my dog, I mean, something, I'm in.
Yeah,
right.
right.
You're going to understand it, right? I mean, because
Yeah.
I know if something happened, you would do the same thing. I mean,
Yeah.
so we have to be everywhere and available all the time, but know that this is something I can wait on. This is something I can need to take care of. This is something I need to deflect, to somebody else.
Right.
I mean, it's just all that. But time kills deals and speed wins. So, if I put more time behind something, whether it's in responses, it's in closings, it's whatever it is, then that could cost somebody else something. So my responsibility to everybody that I have to be responsible for is speed.
There's a lot of pull in your world. Things are pulling you, and everyone's urgency becomes your urgency at a point in the day. And so taking a step back from that, I know you have a wonderful team too. So, having great people to be in business with, and that's what's saved us, many a days, just having that support structure around you to keep
So
it together.
let's talk about team.
Okay.
Okay, you guys, great team. Build a team. Continue to build a team. What are, because you hit on something, and actually, I put a quote on this today. I released a quote out this morning on this, and a lot of it is about growth, right? And highly successful businesses that grow and scale. You have to do several things really, really well, because most people, and I'm assuming it'd be the same way, they pull to you. They want, they want Lance, they want Christie. It's the Taylor Team DFW, right?
Sure.
But you have to know how to put the right processes and systems in place that allows for it to be repeatable. And then you have to put a really good team around you to be able to support everything that you guys have established, right, as the team leaders. Is that kind of how you have a scalable, repeatable type process, I know, right, in your business to give that client the right type of feel and experience they're looking for? Because they don't care about growth. They care about their deal.
That's
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? So talk a little bit about that and how you've built your team.
So, we're blessed to be in business with some really wonderful, we have some operations support,
Right.
kind of behind the scenes, and then we have agents that work with us. And, for us to provide that consistent level of service and yet continue to be available and open for new conversations, we have to have the support of the team. We're really taking care of a lot of the work that there is to do in that background. So, specifically, I think, setting the standards on the team so that you feel comfortable enough to transition or hand that, that person, that activity over, because the worst fear I think we all have in a service-based business is someone's going to drop the ball or not execute properly. So, that happens with, hiring talent and, training that talent up to what your standards and expectations are. And so we're learning through that piece as well, but, it's the people business. And so it's never perfect, but yet if you've got people with heart and they truly want to, step in and make a difference and do the right thing, it comes together. And so,
Yeah, and while we were in real estate and mortgage, we're in the feel and experience business.
right.
The better we can make people feel about the experience they're having, then we all win. And so whatever process or system or people you put around you, it all needs to be based on those two things, feel and experience.
Right.
So how many agents do you guys have now?
So there were 4 licensed agents on
Awesome.
our team,
Okay.
and then we have 4 support staff.
Okay.
So, and our agents are, constantly seeking out training, and we're as a team, we're constantly seeking out new ideas and innovations and technology to make us better and to really help our clients have the proper technology leverage in their lives too, so that when it is time when they truly need us, they've got quick access, but they've got the information and the tools at hand during the time that we're also working with other clients. So really trying to leverage technology in this day and age. We're very fortunate to have all types of technology gifts that we can implement in our business.
So, there are those that I put on like different scales, right? So let's just do A, B's, and C's, right? There's a lot of disruption going on in both of our industries, and a lot of people will be fearful of these type of disruptors, and whether that's technology, it's different types of companies trying to enter into a space and carve out their niche because of like a low rate or a low split type deal. They look at that as fear-based, deals, and it creates a challenge for them. I don't see that in the conversation we're having right now, because you're mentioning technology, which is companies that are getting into the space that are trying to take business away from you. But you're talking about leveraging it.
Yeah, so the technology wave is going to happen whether we're kicking and screaming and fighting against it, or we embrace it and look for opportunities and solutions to be able to implement it and make it a better experience for our clients. So I think fear is, at least I try to tell myself this, that fear is a wasted emotion. And really, let's look for the opportunity within that.
Absolutely.
And so once you can kind of shift your mindset and look there, then we started to find, there's a lot of wonderful things coming out. Yes, margins may be squeezed, and more and more players are coming into the game at a very high tech level. But learning from those lead players coming in.
Right.
Keller Williams is now really, they've entered the technology business in a large way.
Yep.
And so I think there's going to be a race toward technology, but it's how it's utilized and whose hands it lies in is where the true power comes from.
Correct.
So we want to shift that power to, through us to our consumers.
To a consumer.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you
Empower
have
them,
other, stock-driven companies that they want to deliver that power into the owners, the stockholder hands. And so that's kind of where the battle's being played out.
Yeah, and it's going to be there. We can't stop technology, and that's why I'm saying the A, B's, and C's. The A's are going to understand it. You guys are the A's. You're going to understand how to utilize this technology to better serve your audience, right? To get that in front of them so that, like you said, stockholders or consumers, you're going to utilize the technology to get it to them so it makes their experience better, right? The C's, they fly under the radar. They do so little production, they're probably not going to be impacted by all this disruption. It's the B's that I look at and worry about with the most. Those are going to be, the 90-10 rule, the 80-20 rule. It's the major part of the real estate or mortgage community that is kind of like good with status quo. They're good with where they're at. Right. They're happy. They're content. They're not pushing themselves to understand how disruption could impact their business or how they could use it in a positive way to impact other people's lives. They're just going to kind of try to maintain. And I think that's where the opportunity lies for people that are at the A level, because a lot of those will fall.
Right.
Either they're going to get out or they're going to fall down to C, and they're going to have to bounce up off that brick wall or that floor to see if they can bounce back up, or they're going to be out. And that opportunity is what keeps me up at night, not fear. It's the fact that I'm looking at, oh my gosh, this is so great. Right. Not that I want people to fall, but there's going to be opportunity to impact other people's lives.
Right.
When you feel, until you feel the time, ticking away, it's amazing. And we're in 2018, almost 2019. It's how fast technology moves. And so if you don't start ingraining yourself on the very front end of these opportunities that are coming through, it's difficult to catch up. The learning curve becomes steeper and steeper. And so, it depends on how you view your life. If you view it as, hey, there's a constant learning opportunity, and there's always things changing, and that creates the excitement in your business and your life, then you're typically going to do very well in these climates of change. When you view life as, I've got everything established, I got it exactly how I want, don't touch me, don't mess with me, then it makes it very difficult, because there's no stopping the change. So
those are the ones that say, hey, it's been done this way for the last 20 years, let's just keep it the same way. Right? There's no reason to change.
Sure. Yeah.
They're on the way out. They're changing. They're on their way out. So you guys have the team. Are you looking to grow?
We are.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sure.
So you're looking to add. what are you looking for? Like what type of, a new person that's wanting to get into real estate, a already productive agent that wants to join a team? Give me a little.
That's a great question. So right now we're looking more for someone who's had some experience, but they're misguided. They don't know where to focus their efforts and their time, and they're looking for more opportunities to work. And so we're looking for more of that mid-level, talent where they
They want a team environment. They want coaching. They
culture's important to them.
Yeah.
Coaching is
Culture.
important to them. Growth is important. So
Would you say, I mean, like why someone join? So like they're out there, they're in that mid-level tier, right? Maybe in that B segment, right? A, B, C,
Right.
maybe in that B segment. What's a couple of things that you would tell them as to why they would want to join a team versus being out there on their own?
well, so growth-minded people are looking to emulate and model, and to have support come from behind them, and pull them up to a level. So people who don't want standards or they don't want to have accountability in their life, it's probably teams aren't the best environment for them.
Right.
And so, I would say for someone who is looking to kind of take that next level of real estate and really get that experience behind them, a team is someone who is an entity that can help guide them in the right direction and show them the way. So there's a lot of great agents out there, and they don't have enough interactions. Maybe it's because there's
Opportunities. They don't have enough opportunities, right? That's what we have to fill the bucket with opportunities to actually have impact.
That's right. They haven't learned maybe how to manage their schedule. They haven't learned because being an agent, just like in the mortgage business, you could work on any number of things that are not necessarily productive. And so I think it's a question of focus and then growing through that. And then the opportunity is you're getting to do a lot more opportunities in business, and so you get to learn the industry faster, you go through the growth curve faster, and then you have a mentor and guidance by your side. So we're looking for, I don't know if you've ever read the book, Ideal Team Player, but I like to refer to it, it's the three tenets of great people in businesses are people who are humble, hungry, and smart. This is people smart. And if you're missing one of those components, it's very interesting how it's hard for you to grow, and it's hard for you to really be the best you can be. So that's kind of the framework we look through. And then, too, it's very important that it fits the culture of what we're about and our service level, and that we have the standards that we represent. So part of our business, just like yours, is urgency and response, and there's a lot of long hours and energy that goes out, and you have to be willing to commit to that. So.
What would be a piece of advice you give to, because you guys have been part of teams, you're building a team, you have a team, you're continuing to grow it. Somebody out there that is possibly watching that has a team, right? How do you build a highly effective and successful team? Like what are just a couple of key things that maybe they could take away that says, wow, I didn't think about that, and how to really build a good team?
That's a great question. I think teams it's people and systems.
Okay.
And so refinement of people and systems together on a team, and then the biggest part of service industry is still its heart. You have to have that culture and that heart, and everybody really united and willing to pull together to help pull their clients across the finish line, no matter what it takes.
Yeah.
And I think when people start putting it's tough because you have family to balance, you have other things going on in your life, but when people start putting very strict boundaries of, I'm not going to work after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's tough to to really excel in this industry. So
4 o'clock. Wow.
Yeah.
4 a.m. Yeah. Okay, I got it. But 4
exactly.
o'clock. Yeah.
So being, especially in the first couple of years too, is really willing to set that pace in your life, and it does tend to take a bit of a priority at that time because clients have to be first at some point. And then yet you're.
Well, and it's quick to respond. I mean, that's what my team and I talk about a lot is, look, if something comes across, like an email, a text, and you need an hour because you're about to go into a meeting, then all you need to do is say, hey, about to go into a meeting, is it okay if I get back to you within an hour, after an hour, to get that resolved? And let's say, give them a time. I'll get back to you by 1:30.
Absolutely.
Is that okay? 99% of the time, they're going to say, oh my God, yeah, thanks so much.
Right.
Look forward to getting back, look forward to hearing from you by 1:30. Now that 1%, it's going to be like 911, right?
Right.
And so, okay, then either you deflect the meeting and you handle it real quick, or you deflect the 911 to somebody else on the team that
Right.
can handle it so you can get to that meeting, because every person in front of you is going to be the most important person, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And so you have to understand when you build that team how that's going to work. And I found a lot of times in teams, when I talk to team leaders or talk to people wanting to build teams, the big thing that I go to is, you have to wake up every day to earn their loyalty,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's our job as the team lead to know that we're doing this not for ourselves, but we're doing this for them, right? If
Right.
we're really building the team the right way, we're doing it for them to give them something better that they're searching for. But the day that we start expecting their loyalty is the day they exit,
Right.
right? So we have to get up every day to earn it. And the other thing we have to do is fully expect them to want to spread their own wings and leave.
Sure.
Because we all did at some point.
Sure.
I mean, I started out with teams like early on, but eventually I wanted to go out and be my own. And you can't begrudge them for that. You have to really let
Right.
them go out and do that. And I've seen so many, and it's like sometimes team leaders like, wow, I didn't think about that. But the reality is, look, yeah, you hired them for a reason because you really believe that they were going to be great for the team.
Right.
Right.
Well, then earn it every day so they want to stay, but don't be disappointed if they choose to go.
Right.
I'm sure you've lost some sleep over this too. You've got team members that are they're excellent in every way, and you want to grow your world big enough for them to be able to grow their world inside your world. And at the point that they can't grow anymore, they have to make a choice on what's best for them too.
Sure.
And so, like you said, having a mutual respect for that and being able to
Early- yeah.
navigate
Yeah.
that. And I think too, part of that is just having continuous communication with your team
Yeah.
and staying in touch. And so having weekly appointments,
Yep.
to
Yeah.
connect with the team and understand where they're at and what their wishes are, and really understand what is it that drives them.
Yeah. What's their goals?
What
What's
are
their
their goals?
motivation? Yeah.
Because
Make
if
sure
you
they
can't
still
help
buy
them-
in right to the
Yeah.
bigger vision.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right?
If you can't help them get to their goals, then it may not be a right team fit. And so sometimes too, it's better to find that out early on than to have that prolonged into a situation where they become frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's so wise, so smart. I mean, that's you recognize. It took me. I think I'm older than both of you guys, so I mean, it took me a while to know that and to learn it and understand it. I wish I would have figured that out at 18 or when I got in the business at 25 or 26. Sorry about that. That was my phone, Brandon. But it took me a little bit of time to know that because I put the expectation more in front of the earning piece. And then as I started to see people depart, like when I built my first company, I'm like, okay, I'm doing this wrong. I had to adjust to the earning side versus the expecting side. It's not about, well, I pay you, therefore you need to be here.
Right.
It's the payment is just an afterthought. It's my obligation as the employer.
Sure.
But it's my obligation as it's my responsibility as the team lead or whatever you want to call it to earn it every day.
Sure.
Have you heard of the DISC test?
Yeah.
So we have potential members coming on. We do the DISC test and we talk about the DISC and really walk through that in detail. It's of course a personality profile if you haven't heard of it.
Yep.
And it talks about different levels or really who they are as a person. And so DISC is an acronym. You got D, I, S, and C. And so the C's are more analytical. The I's are going to be more of the people related. They're going to want to talk a lot and be chatty Cathys potentially, right? And then your D's are going to be very driven and focused, goal focused. And your S's are going to be more, we want stable environment. We want consistency. A lot of great mothers are, high S's.
Oh, yeah.
So
I have no S.
yeah, I have no S.
I'm an entrepreneur. I have no
you-
S.
So
Lance has
If I'm
no
on
S.
stable ground, I'm uncomfortable.
that's it.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm looking for the wobbles. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is too comfortable.
I'm
Yeah.
on the DI side.
That-
And so,
that's
you tend to relate really well with people that are like you, right? But then you need those S's and C's because there's such a great balancing
Yes.
force on the team.
For sure.
And so we love to talk through the DISC test, kind of profile it, and it also tells you how you talk to that person, how they like to be treated, how they want to, communicate. And we just in life, I've found I tend to project onto everyone that they're like me. Well, that's not the case, right? When you're working with lots of different people, clients especially. In my phone, sometimes I remind myself of the client. I put C or I or S next to them, so I remember
Yes.
what their values are and how they like to be spoken
How
to.
they like to be spoken to.
Yeah.
I'm a
So-
be brief, be bright, be gone kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like my team will come in, right? And there's this big, long story they want to tell me. I'm like, be brief, be bright, be gone. I'll let you know if I want more information.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
And so it's a learning thing. But then at the same time, even though that's my personality, to your point,
Yeah.
that may not be one of my team members' personalities, so I have to go into a bit more detail in my conversation.
That's right.
Because they need it so that they can then go help somebody else.
We're
Yes,
similar in that way.
yes.
So, the complaint from my team at times is, you told me like a quarter of what I need to know to execute the task you just
Like,
asked me
can
to
you
do.
go into more
So,
detail?
yeah, thank you for reminding me. And so you slow down and go ahead and pour out the rest of the details. But that's just part of the challenge of people. But understanding that on the front at least sets you up for success, and having some empathy toward,
See, not only
different
with your
personalities.
team, but you do that with your clients.
Absolutely.
So you're knowing how they want to be communicated with your sellers, because let's
So
talk about
important.
McKinney, what you guys are doing out there. Now you guys work all over the market,
Right.
right?
Yes.
But you guys live in McKinney. Is that kind of where you feel your base is, or?
So we love McKinney.
Yeah.
We like working in real estate in that area just because it's a beautiful place to be. We office in Frisco, but we've done business all over the Metroplex, and so probably the majority of our business is going to be North Dallas areas.
Okay. Yep.
But that starts with here at Madison and on up. What's funny is you start to see different types of people are attracted to different areas. And so McKinney's tagline is unique by nature. So it tends to attract a lot of people that, a lot of families, a lot of people who are into being active outdoors, running and jogging and those types of things. And then people that have been surrounded by natural beauty in their past. So we've had a lot of people from California.
Yes.
They discover McKinney by accident because it's not as well advertised as a Frisco or a Dallas. But when they do, they become raving fans many times. So it's always interesting, to see how people congregate and based on what community's values are and how they get attracted to it. So,
Well, you guys are. The growth that you guys have experienced. Because I look at numbers. You guys are always in the very top of Collin County, right? As it relates to all the real estate agents that are out there. You obviously serve a lot of people, and there's a lot of growth that's going on out there. And how do you? Because you do both. You do listings and you do buyers. So
Right.
how do you handle all that? I'm assuming it has to be part of the team. Do you take on the listings, defer out your buyers? Kind of how does that work within the team dynamics?
So we do both. We have designated buyer agents that specialize within that area.
Good.
And the buy side is you have to be very knowledgeable about the areas where the new build opportunities are. And driving around the car and connecting there's a lot of time involved. And so we do have kind of specializations within the team.
Specialized, yeah.
And so I came from a background of being a buyer agent. That's what I worked primarily. And so the transition has been interesting in that I'm more listing focused at this point. However, that background of working with buyers has really served well, I think, our sellers from an understanding of what buyer minds are, what the perspective
want,
is,
yeah.
what they're looking for, how they rule listings out, just like how they add to their top 5 list. So
So when you're talking to like sellers, right? You do these open houses, and every home gets sold because of an open house, right?
sure, oh yeah,
Yep.
And every buyer that walks in is going to buy that house.
yeah.
Yeah.
We know that's not the case, right?
So, yeah, absolutely, and we're big on open houses. For one, it's a great feedback mechanism for sellers. So when buyers are coming through and they're walking through a house, they can't help themselves, but they want to comment and they want to, deliver some judgment maybe, or maybe some compliments. And so we get to really understand, especially when our listings go live, are there any blind spots that we have? Or is there anything that we need to make adjustments for? So that's very helpful. The other thing that's interesting is that, different times of the year when a lot of agents are traveling, their buyers are stranded and they can't access homes. And so an open house is an opportunity for them. It really narrows the pool of homes they look at because they're only going to look at the homes with open houses. And so we have seen that attract in buyers that would fall in love with the home that they wouldn't have necessarily put on their list, but they walk through because they had access.
Yeah.
So it does work, and it's another reason to be able to drive attraction. to a listing. So any event that you have, you get to market around that and bring attraction to that listing. So from that perspective, it can be a big win for them. But a seller has to prepare for the weekend. They have to get everything cleaned up.
Sure.
There's a lot of energy and effort that goes into preparation for it too.
And you guys help them, like if there's any staging questions, like, hey,
Absolutely.
this house needs to be adjusted. So that's
Right.
part of what you guys will do from a
Yes.
design stage standpoint?
We do that up front, yeah. So we have a full-time stager.
Okay.
That's, right after the listing appointment, that's the next appointment that goes in. And she delivers a tremendous amount of value from having a kind of a third-party perspective walking into a home. And she's paying attention to all the things that touch your senses, right? So sight, sound, smells, touch, and really looking for opportunities to maximize the space of the home itself. The way
Not
we
only
live in a
for the
home.
showings, but
Yeah.
for the photos as well,
Yeah.
to make sure those photos, turn out pristine, because
Right.
that's the
That's
first
the
place
first thing
a
they're seeing
buyer
them.
is going to see.
Well, 93% of just overall buyers start online looking for a home. 99% of the millennials are online looking for a
Right.
home. So pictures
So
are
important.
Big time.
Okay.
Just like even videos.
Yeah.
Videos.
Visual is important.
Yes.
Yep.
And if they don't connect with the visual to start with, they're probably never going to take a next step.
And y'all use video
Yes.
for your homes and stuff like that?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
important.
And so we have a camera system too that's a walkthrough. And so we have a lot of out-of-town buyers that they can't necessarily get here right then, but they want to be able to see into her homes.
Really see the floor plan and how that looks in a 3D virtual
Yes.
way, rather than just stagnant photos going across. So it's a really cool
So
technology.
you can punch through on your phone, you can have a keyboard and walk through a house, you can look up at ceiling heights, you can look all around, things that photos aren't going to show.
Right.
And it gives you a perspective of when you walk through the front door, how does this house flow?
It's kind of like Minecraft for our
It
kids,
is.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what
I know that because of my
It
daughter.
is.
plays
Right,
it, so
exactly.
yes.
That's why I know.
But yeah, very much. And so it gives them that virtual world to start with, and then it gives them an opportunity then to reach out and set up that showing once they come in. We've even had offers that came in before they've seen the house. They felt so comfortable with the setting. I mean,
Yeah.
you can Google Maps these days. You can zoom in on the lot itself. You can see what's surrounding it. And a lot of times they're relying on an agent to tell them about the demographics of the
Sure.
neighborhood, just the safety, pieces
Yeah,
like that.
they start
So-
online. They want to see it. They want to get a
Right.
feel for it. But then they will gravitate towards that agent to know, okay, give me some specifics. Is this house like in a school zone? How's the traffic pattern going to be? And they need that local
Yeah.
market expertise.
That's right.
Right. Foot on the ground. Tell me what's going on. Really, I like the global pictures.
Yes.
I like the views and everything.
Yeah.
But I need that local expertise.
Yeah.
That's right. So it's kind of flipped in that used to be before technology was there, they would go to the agent, rely upon the agent to have all this information on where they should search, right? Now, most of the buyers, we see they're going online first, like you said, and then to disseminate the information they see and verify and validate, then they're going to the agent. But they already come much more educated than they ever were in the past.
Yeah.
And so, we understand that as, when we're preparing a listing, we know that we need to be in their world and on their vision so that when they come to their agent, they're more directing, hey, these are some opportunities we're interested in, tell us more about it. Tell us more about the schools. And then they kind of dive down from there.
Yeah.
But that attractive factor starts with, the presentation, the photographs, and the
Yep.
video. So.
I love it. I love it. Give because I know that's going to help you serve more clients, the technology and all that kind of stuff. Give your digits, your website, guys. I know I'm going to have all of it in the whatever you call that, Brandon. I don't know the wording of behind the video and all that kind of stuff. What's it called?
Description.
The description.
There you
Thank
go.
you. I lose words. We'll have all the digits like we did in the promos, but in the description of the video and stuff like that, so you guys can find them. But since we're in the video, go ahead and throw out your phone numbers, websites, whatever you want to drive people to you guys.
Okay.
www.taylorteamdfw.com is the website, and 972-850-8501 is our contact number.
And check us out on Facebook, Taylor
Yep.
Team DFW,
Instagram.
Yeah, you
Instagram
name it.
at Taylor Team
That's-
DFW.
There you go. So
The branding is done, man. It's right, Taylor Team DFW, right?
That's right.
Yes.
You got the
Yes.
name, you got great images, you got great marketing. It's been awesome to get to
Yeah,
know you
likewise.
guys
Yeah.
a lot more, and I hope, guys, that you found this jam session super valuable. I hope you were able to take away at least one nugget that can help you personally, professionally, wherever you are in your business and life. I'm sure you guys reach out to them if you're looking to understand how to grow a team, how to be part of a team. If you're a seller, buyer, obviously you guys, that's what you guys do every day, but I'm sure they're going to be willing to share whatever it is that they have to make your life better. So thanks for giving me your eyes and ears today. If we were good, thumbs up. Obviously, if we sucked or I sucked, they didn't. If I didn't ask the right questions, I get it. Let me know in the comments. I'll do better next time. Take care. Make somebody else's life better. Peace.